Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are unpacking the mechanics and the absolutely immense scale of high seas drug busts right off the coast of Mexico. We're going to break down the tactics, that massive multinational coordination, and the wild numbers behind these maritime takedowns. Let's get right into it. All right, picture this. You're out in the vast, totally empty expanse of the Pacific Ocean. There's a sleek, highly modified go-fast boat just tearing across the water, engines absolutely roaring as the crew tries to slip right under the radar. But suddenly, they realize they are definitely not alone. They've been spotted from above. Panic sets in. So in this desperate bid to destroy the evidence, the crew starts frantically hurling these massive, heavy bales of illicit cargo directly overboard, just watching them splash into the unforgiving ocean. It's literally a high-stakes, cinematic maritime chase, but it's happening in real life. Section 1. High Seas Intercept. Okay, let's dive into this and zoom right in on the tactical anatomy of this dramatic confrontation. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this rapid, highly coordinated sequence. This doesn't just happen by accident. Step 1. Air assets from U.S. Customs and Border Protection are acting as the eye in the sky, and they spot the target. Step 2, as we saw, is the suspect's panicked reaction, dumping the drugs. And then step 3, this relies on absolute precision. Guided by those U.S. air assets, Mexican Marines literally fast rope from helicopters directly onto the deck of the moving vessel. Talk about an incredibly dangerous maneuver that requires just split-second timing. And you know what? All that risk totally pays off. In this specific operation, after they secured the boat, the Navy had to turn right around and meticulously fish all that discarded evidence out of the water. And they managed to pull a staggering 1,990 pounds of cocaine straight out of the ocean. To put that into perspective, that is nearly a ton of illicit cargo intercepted and just completely removed from the supply chain in a matter of hours. Moving on to Section 2, 3 Pacific operations. Let's zoom out slightly to look at a broader snapshot of the Mexican Navy's recent activities. Now, the agency kept the exact dates undisclosed for obvious security reasons, but they did confirm this fast rope intercept was just one of 3 recent, highly varied missions out in the Pacific. These operations brilliantly show just how unpredictable maritime law enforcement can be. Like off the coast of Guerrero, naval forces seized 22 packages of cocaine, but then they had to completely shift gears. They literally had to rescue 11 shipwrecked people from a totally different vessel, get the medical attention, and hand them over to immigration. Meanwhile, in the port city of Manzanillo, inspecting a docked container ship turned up 7 packages of cocaine along with 3 detained stowaways. And finally, near Acapulco, 34 more packages were recovered from a boat and sent over to the Oaxacan coast for destruction. So the big takeaway here is how authorities are constantly forced to juggle these unexpected, really complex human elements right alongside securing the dangerous contraband. Which brings us to Section 3, International Task Force South. To really understand how authorities even know where to look in the first place, we have to look at the massive geopolitical framework that makes these high seas interceptions possible. Enter the Joint Interagency Task Force South. So this is a multinational law enforcement coalition made up of 21 partner nations, and that crucially includes both the U.S. and Mexico. And why does this matter so much? Well, tackling the global flow of illicit drugs is pretty much impossible for any one country to pull off alone. It takes a highly coordinated international intelligence web. The U.S. might have the eye in the sky, right? But Mexico has the rapid response naval forces in their territorial waters. It's exactly this web of shared intelligence that brings those fast-stripping Marines to the exact right coordinates at the perfect time. And that leads us to Section 4, by the numbers. So the crucial point is we really need to transition from these isolated micro-narratives to the staggering macro-level statistics. For example, earlier this year, authorities reported seizing nearly 200 packages from a single ship during a coordinated Pacific operation. Just think about that. Those 200 packages equate to several tons of cocaine, all stripped from a single vessel in just one fell swoop. But here is the ultimate massive statistic. The Mexican Navy reported that under the current administration, an unbelievable 65.5 tons of illicit cocaine have been successfully intercepted. 65.5 tons. Just imagine the logistical nightmare of moving that much weight, let alone the sheer intelligence required to actually track and secure it all in the middle of the open ocean. It's wild. Which leaves us with this final really striking thought. These takedowns are incredibly successful, highly coordinated, and just vastly complex. But if an international task force of 21 nations working around the clock can intersect 65.5 tons of contraband, What is the true, staggering scale of the global drug trade that still slips through the net? It's a massive, unseen market that authorities are battling every single day. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer to unpack it all. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.